Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to this week's episode of Vented Uplift. We have a lot going on. We are just 1 week away from our big fundraiser, Check Your Cans. And let me say hi for those of you who don't know me. Hi, my name is Chrissy Canny, breast cancer survivor, the CEO of Vented in Brooklyn, the aromatherapy jewelry with the mission of giving back, and the creator of Check Your Cans. It's going to be a great night 1 week away at Flagship Brewery here in Staten Island. Let me press do not disturb. So I'm very excited. Today's guest is Oriana Calise. We have some exciting things to talk about, and she's involved next week, and we're going to tell you all about that. She is the founder of Calibre Construction. I love a kick-ass woman construction owner, and she's also a breast cancer survivor. We both had double mastectomies around the same time, so I'm going to bring her on right now. All right, everybody. Welcome, Oriana Calise.
Hi, guys.
I think I'm fancy. I was able to play that song for 2 seconds.
So cool. I love it.
All right. So, Oriana, thank you so much for coming on. I've been trying to get you on for a really long time.
I know. I always say no. Every time people ask me to do lives, I'm like, I don't want to.
So what do you think changed?
You honestly, you threw it in there, like in the, hey, you're going to be a model and one day you're going to do a live. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, oh, wow. Okay. I'm going to do it.
So you just told me. So we haven't officially announced our 9 models.
Oh God. Did I screw it up?
No, you didn't screw it up.
Okay.
You just told her. Yeah. So Oriana is one of our models. So we have 9 breast cancer survivors, some who recently just went through treatment, some who are going through treatment, some who have finished up a few years ago, but people that I have met and been inspired by how tough and courageous that they are. So I'm so grateful that you said yes to being a model. And realize the importance of what we're trying to do that night. So besides raising money for breast cancer and making strides, we're trying to boost the spirits of other women, right?
Right.
So and I asked you for like your lowest, worst photo, right? So when you were going through treatment. So we're going to get to that, but I want you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your business, just to give a little.
Sure. So I'm one of the owners of Calibre Construction NY&NJ. We cover New York and New Jersey, mostly New Jersey, honestly, because I don't want to pay the toll. But we're a family-owned business. So I have 4 kids, 2 dogs, 13 chickens. I have a lot going on. I bake on the side. So my 7-layer cookies sell out pretty quickly, which is pretty exciting. That's kind of like my happy moments in my house. And that's pretty much it about me. I mean, obviously I had the mastectomy and I have, my nice filled Ziploc bags here. I wish I could explain it differently, but it's okay.
Yeah. So tell everybody, I why I was so fortunate in the decision when I was diagnosed was because so many women have shared their stories with me. So I really want you to be able to okay, because you were somebody that it's a little different, right? In what people should look for. So just tell the women listening how you found your breast cancer.
So it's actually pretty gross, I guess.
But you know what?
It is what it is.
People need to be gross and understand.
It was the day before Christmas Eve. I'm starting this like a Christmas fairy tale, but it wasn't. I went in the shower and I had seen some blood in my bra. And I was like, what the hell is that? And I go to kind of just look down, when you grab your boob and you want to look, and blood comes out of my nipple and I freak out. And I call my husband in there and I'm like, oh my God, my nipple's bleeding. What do I do? He comes in, we're checking the bra. He's like, is there an underwire in here? There was nothing in there. And we kind of just looked at each other and I was like, no freaking way. Right.
You knew just from that.
3 weeks before that, I was laying on him and I could feel something when I was laying on him. And I honestly thought it was in my head. So breast cancer runs in my family tremendously. My dad's sister, my grandmother, like so many people have had breast cancer. And my aunt was diagnosed, I don't quote me on this, around the age of 31, I think. So she was diagnosed young. And I laid on him, I felt the lump, and I was like, no way, that can't be it. And then the bleeding started, right? Everybody, all the doctors I went to told me it could be a papilloma, it could be this, it could be that. It was during COVID. I was going into a lot of these appointments by myself, which was completely terrifying. You know, I go into the doctor, they do the mammogram, they do the sonogram, they do all this stuff. And the next thing I know, my husband's like, okay, babe, everything's going to be good. You're going to go into this doctor's appointment. Afterwards, we're going to go to lunch. We're going to find out you need antibiotics. I'm like, okay. I go in and I come out, and I will never forget the feeling. I was lost, just lost standing outside of this doctor's office. My husband was in front of me in the truck, and I couldn't even see him. I cried so hard. And the doctor was like, well, after the biopsy and everything, that we believe that you have ductal carcinoma, which we caught it so early. And the biopsy was so hard to do because it was, you had to lay in the, I think it was an MRI or CAT scan. And they were trying, they could only do the biopsy.
Needed needle biopsy.
Yeah. And it was so annoying and uncomfortable and frustrating, you know? And this one doctor was like, we're going to remove your nipple, we're going to remove the ducts, but then we're going to replace the nipple, then we'll discuss treatment and radiation and chemo if it need be, and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, like lost. And
so you were all by yourself in this appointment?
Yeah. Yeah. I was all by myself, and I was just, by the time I made it to the front door of the doctor's office, I had already like planned my funeral, my living will, like, because my aunt and I watched everything she went through, and I was like, oh my God, like I'm not going to make it, you know? My husband that night was like, I think we need to go for a second opinion. I had called the Cancer Center of New Jersey. I explained to the lady on the phone when she was like, oh, we have appointments 3 months out. I'm like, listen, this is what's going on. I'm going in for surgery next week. I don't even know what they're doing. Like, please, I need a second opinion. She got me in the next day. The next day I went in there, and again, I was by myself in this appointment. That day I was there for almost 6 hours. I had seen like an ancestry person. I was tested for the BRCA1 gene, the BRCA2 gene. They did so much more work, and I felt so comfortable leaving there. We had a plan, and the plan was whether I came back positive for the BRCA gene or not, because cancer ran so strong in my family. I wanted these off with thy tits. They had to go, you know? And I said, if they don't schedule me soon, I'm going to take them off myself. I know it sounds crazy, but I was like, so
don't trust a woman with a power saw.
Yeah. Listen, I own a construction company. I have tools. These things are going off. You're either going to take them off willingly, or I'm going to take them off myself. And that's kind of where the journey began, of just everybody was on board, you know, speaking to my husband about that conversation, like, hey, I'm going to cut my tits off. I don't know a better way to put it. Like, are you still going to love me? Or am I going to look like a mess? Am I like going to be broken? Am I going to have nipples? I don't know. I didn't know anything. And he was the most supportive guy. And I know a lot of women don't have that, but I was really, really blessed in that standpoint of like, I knew no matter what, like I was going to be okay. And Chrissy, you, man, you saved the day a lot of days. Like, Oriana, just breathe. Oriana, did you eat today? Like, I definitely went down a path of not good moments, you know? Now looking back on it, I wish I would have had more of that Chrissy Canny positive outlook on it. Like, we're going to tell everybody, and we're going to be good, and we're going to support. And I threw out all the cancer stuff, and people were sending me pink stuff. I threw it in the garbage. I was like, fuck cancer. I don't want any part in this. I was just not like the most positive. I still don't own, this is the closest thing to pink that I have. And actually the shirt that you're sending me is probably going to be the closest thing to a pink ribbon. Yeah. I've had in my house since then. It's definitely been one hell of a journey.
You know, there's a lot of women who, you know, I had this conversation last week that like see this month and the pink and it sets them off, right? And also because of, you know, corporations using it to give back and they get, you know, a little angry that it's being used in that way. But, you know, you did the best that you could. You know, I was like a freak, you know, like, you know.
You did so amazing. Like watching you go through all of these things, like your journey that you shared while I was going through the same journey with you, like just a week after, it helped so much because I'm like, I would tell Peter and he had no idea who you were. And I'm like, oh, but Chrissy's okay. So like, I'm going to be okay. Or Chrissy put on makeup. Like I am totally going to function. Like I'm going to be okay. And, I've been through so much in my life that I couldn't believe, like, after everything I've been through, that this was the one thing that I think was the icing on the cake for my mental status. It was just like, no, you're done. You can't handle anymore. You're officially melting.
Yeah, and I mean, and you've handled a lot in your life. I mean, you just, you know, recently wrote it. You are a contributing author of Never Fear Your Fire.
Yeah.
Do you want to share a little bit about that?
So Never Fear Your Fire was probably one of the most therapeutic things I think I've ever done. I was very hesitant again to write in this book and share my story. But the chapter was for my mom. And that definitely helped a lot. So my mom was a drug addict. She had died at the age of 29 from AIDS. Um, I had been through a lot. By the time I was 9, I was pretty much like 29. I became an adult very quickly. And I kind of almost repeated the same cycle as my mom, not with the drugs, but I'm anti-drugs. I won't even take a Tylenol. I'm like terrified. That's the one thing she did to me. So, but she was always with a lot of bad men and, really not good people. And I almost followed in the same journey, but I refused to let that cycle go. I broke that. And then this almost broke me. So,
Because you couldn't control it.
yeah, I couldn't. I am very much a person that like, okay, if I have a plan, right, and I can dance in the rain through a lot of bad things because I know that I'll have a way to fix it at some point. And this, no matter how much I tried to dance in the rain, reality smacks you in the face every day. Like there was no dancing in the rain when I looked down at my body because I couldn't escape my body. I would look down and be like, I am disgusting. And I don't know if any other women feel like this, but I could not touch my own skin. So my husband had to shower me for probably 5 to 6 months. I absolutely refused to even touch my own skin. I was disgusted by myself. And that was like you guys almost killed me. Like I don't like you. I don't want to touch you. And there's an odd feeling of, when you have a mastectomy, you lose all that feeling. So your fingertips know that they're touching something, but your body doesn't feel it. And there's something, I think, with emotions and your brain that just, I don't know, my fingers, it was like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
Am I sharing too much?
No.
Okay.
No. It's wonderful that you are. Because yeah, we got to tell the truth. Yeah, we look, yeah, so everybody's like, oh yeah, we did wonderfully, right? Because what we put out there and what we see. But the first time that you look at yourself in the mirror, is a really, really hard day. And I know it took you a while to look.
I didn't want to look at all. I would just close my eyes and be like, okay, do what you need to do, change the bandage, empty the drains, clean me up. Like I couldn't even look at myself. And then I'll never forget the first day that I did. I stood there looking in the mirror and I was like, oh my God, I am mutilated. My body is completely mutilated. And it was so hard for Vita. I'm sorry.
No.
It was so hard for me
Why
to,
this is why we're sharing so that another woman can hear your story, right?
yeah.
And no, let's talk about like, okay, and your big cans now. We love your big cans, do we not? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. All
Yeah.
right. So just like, at the outcome, you love your big girls, right? And you're
I
bigger than you
do.
ever were, and
So
you love
the
them.
whole
So
journey
everybody
was
remember that part, but keep going.
right. The whole journey was so dark and sad and painful. Um, I even told my husband, I'm like, I give you permission to cheat on me because who would ever want to touch this? They're bruised and shriveled and ugh. But now, well, let me tell you, because I don't want to keep crying. I have implants. I've had a couple of sets of implants, so
Yeah.
there's a lot that goes into the reconstruction, and it's not just everybody would be like, "Oh, you're gonna get some great perky boobs at the end." Like, thanks for that glimmer of hope. I'm on my sixth pair, um, but they're here.
You've had that many?
Yeah, yeah. I just had another surgery in February. February? Yeah, I think it was February.
Okay, just to tell everybody. Okay, so like remember, so everybody, I shared the story that like my magic trick is if I bend over, I can flip my boob. Well, Oriana's, because yours are bigger, they weren't able, they flipped, but they can't
They
really.
can't go back. And nobody could figure out how are they flipping if we can't put them back. I'm in the doctor's office and there's two doctors. They're pushing and nothing's happening. He's like, how'd you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. So we ended up going with an implant that, my first couple of sets looked much nicer. Like they looked more real. They were, fuller. I did the fat transfer at one point. So I had some fat up here that died. So whatever. Now we went with a very soft implant. So
Okay.
it doesn't have the same look as a real boob. And you see a lot more of like the bag and the ripples.
Right.
Um, but they felt like they would sit more. So less possibility of turning. Um, One of mine is actually upside down right now. So we're not really sure what's going on. I know that my capsule and my tissue heals extremely fast, and my tissue becomes very malleable very quickly. And they feel like it's a great thing for most people, right? Like a lot of people get the scar tissue that's hard. I don't get that. Mine goes back right to like the elasticity that it's supposed to, but it's not holding in the implant where it should be. But it's okay. I'm
Listen.
gonna stick with these guys for a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, you talked about that. So the pain, right? Not being able to look and what it felt like. But tell me what you would say to somebody who's just diagnosed.
Get ready. Get ready. And all those people that are trying to like help you feel better, it's going to make you so angry inside because you're going to be like, you don't understand, and they probably will never understand. But what I can tell you is that you're going to be okay. And even during some of the darkest moments of that journey, and there were a lot of crying by myself, and that's okay too. Like, I promise you, you're going to come out at the end and you're going to be okay. Even when you feel like there's no end in sight, you can't lift your arms, your armpits are swollen, your fingers are swollen, and everything's just stuck. Like, it's going to feel horrible, but I promise you, you're going to be okay. Like, I wish people would have just kept it real with me. And that's to the people that aren't diagnosed with breast cancer, that are talking to people that are. You guys need to tread lightly, man. Tread lightly. Don't go over there and be like, oh God, I understand. Oh, but those perky boobs, like that's not it. Like you need to let them know that it is okay to be unbelievably sad, and that it is okay to be angry, and it's okay to feel all those feelings so they don't feel crazy, because they're going through a journey that you will never freaking know. That's what I feel.
And so then, okay, so you were able to save your nipples?
So I was able to save my nipples. I woke up from my mastectomy sounding like I smoked 100 packs of Marlboro Lights because your throat's very raspy. And I was like, somebody tell me, do I have my nipples? Like, please tell me. And everybody was just looking at me like I was crazy. And my husband came in and he's like, babe, I'm like, do I have nipples? He's like, you have nipples. I'm like, ah. I was like so excited until I took the robe off and I saw the drains and I was like, oh my God, what happened? Like, you don't expect that. Like, whoa, buddy, what's
Yeah,
here?
those drains suck.
They do. They really do. They are
I
for
think
the birds.
I think that's like the worst part was the worst
Yes.
part for me.
Yes.
And when they finally like, so you have drains to, get all the fluid out and not get infection. So I had two on each side. I think, did you all have
Me
two?
too. I
Yeah.
had 2 on each side
All
for
right. Some doctors,
24 days.
oh my God, that's so long. And then some doctors only put one. And then in exchange surgery, some doctors use them, some don't use them. But I mean, the scars from where the drains were under my arms are still like tender, like
Yes.
tight. So it's like, if you see me like walking around like this, like in the neighborhood, that's what I'm doing. It's just like,
So I walk around my house sometimes and I'm like, oh God, and I'll just like rub my side and, everybody be like, oh God, what's wrong? And I'm like, it's just, I can't explain like the feeling that you get there. And also like after a while, you kind of start, your nerves, I think, kind of start to reconnect, not all of them, but some do. And you get these like weird, like electric feelings or like, do you get an itch that you're scratching and nothing is happening? Or I'll borrow my husband's hand. Like, can you scratch it? Maybe like you can get it. It's so weird because you have no feeling, but you have odd feelings.
right, right. Yeah. You and I start to discuss this week that, so now a year out, it's like, oh, okay, we're like at a new phase, right? So now it's like the feeling is starting to come back. Like the summer, like I wrote, and the American Cancer Society actually shared it. I posted about how excited I was to feel an ant walk on my boob on the porch. I was like, an ant. I felt an ant crawling on me. Like,
Did you
like,
throw a party? Because I screamed one day. So I was laying in the bed and I went like this and I felt my finger, right? So in my head, I was like, it was in my head. So then I'm like, babe, can you go like this? And I'm like, oh my God, I felt something. Like I was so excited. You would have thought I hit the lotto. It's nice
it's
to
exciting.
feel something.
Yes, it is, it is something like, and when I had interviewed women years ago at a breast cancer talk, I'm like, all right, what's sex like without feeling your boobs? Right? Like, we've had this conversation, like,
Yeah.
it's a big shift. And so
Yeah.
for us to get sensation back, it's like, it's exciting. But it is starting to feel it's since everything is starting to connect. There
Right.
are, it's sometimes it's like shooting electrical.
Sharp pains. So I explain it like I feel like somebody's taking a hot poker sometimes, and I feel it in like random parts, and like I'll jump or like I'll move, and I look like a crazy person in the supermarket sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell that was, and then I panic, and I'm like, oh my God, wait, is something wrong? And then I'm like back at the doctor again. I'm like, can we check? Can we make sure? Like I'm good to go, but it's still like, wait, is something wrong?
It, it is true. I had a conversation the other night with somebody about, once you're diagnosed with cancer, once something like little starts to happen somewhere else or that you're sick, there's a fight to like not convince yourself that you have cancer.
You panic.
Was tight the other day. I'm like, and I like was supposed to go for a lung x-ray like a while back. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, it's lung cancer. It's growing. It's tight. It's growing behind my chest. That's what's going
Right.
on. The cancer was there, metastasized, and it's lung cancer. Like, okay, yeah, the scan was clear and fine, but it's really hard to like, you gotta pull it back.
Right.
And it's really a struggle for anybody who's been diagnosed with any kind of cancer.
It is because you had that hope initially, right? Oh, it was going to be nothing. And then you found out it wasn't nothing, it was something. So now every time even if I have like a migraine, you know how many times I've diagnosed myself with a brain tumor at this point the last couple of months? I get a headache and I'm like, oh my God, that's it. I have breast cancer. And my husband's like, what are you doing? And he's like, stop it. It's not going to be that. I'm like, the last time you told me it wasn't going to be anything. So that's our going back and
Your
forth.
husband sounds like a true saint.
He really is. He really, really is. But I'm like, you told me. And he's like, all right, I'm sorry. It could be brain cancer. I don't know. What are we going to do? Like, and then I'm like, stop being crazy. It's not brain cancer. I'm going to bed. Like,
Right. Yeah. So what do you do to keep the crazy away? How do you talk yourself out of it? Support from others, or
definitely not support from others, because I'm not a big, hey, I need help kind of person, you know, which
that was part of your struggle. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not the person.
You don't like help. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you help me? I need somebody to talk to. I'm struggling. I'm more of a, okay, everybody leave me alone. I need to go in my space and try. So I'll, sometimes I have headphones in and I have music blasting and I'm dancing in the kitchen and I don't care what is going on, but everybody knows like, oh, mom's having a meltdown. Like I have to like recheck myself, recenter myself. I did find some peace in taking on yoga, which is something that I thought I'd never do. But this year that's really been my go-to, honestly. Yoga, meditation. I'm telling my kids, I'm like, you have to do box breathing. And they're like, mom's lost her freaking mind. But
I'm all about breathing. So
I love it. It's really helped me to like kind of feel comfortable in myself, know that even if I'm crying and I'm upset, like it's okay. Like I went to yoga and then did the meditation and just laid there and cried. Like, but it felt so good because it's a safe space to let it out. And you look crazy, but it's okay.
And you don't go to regular yoga. It's like neon party, like.
So I managed to find the craziest yoga ever, I think, because everybody's like, where the hell are you going? So I'm doing like African tribal yoga.
Oh, is that what it's called? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's called booty yoga. It's BUTI. For anybody that's not one of those people that can't like just sit still and kind of go into your, meditation zone and downward dog, this is the coolest freaking yoga ever. It's upbeat. You're moving and grooving. You're sweating. You're letting out frustration, which is like huge for me. I need to like just let it all out. Even the meditation is crazy. Like she's on the microphone. She's like, and now take a deep breath in. Don't let it go. Don't let it go. And
oh, that's totally different.
It's totally crazy. But I've brought some people with me because they've been interested in like, Oriana, what are you doing? And they'll come with me and like, oh my God, that was the craziest experience I've ever had. But like, I have to do it again. It's so cool.
And that's in Jersey. Tell people where that is.
So it's called Fit by Marina. I'll tag her when you post this somewhere. Marina is my wonderful little Russian guru. I am obsessed with her. She's super small. She has no filter. She's on a microphone. She calls you out on your shit. She's like, Oriana, that's not what I said to do. We need to go this position. And I love it because she is just so real. And that's what I need. I don't need somebody to pretend that there's some yogi spiritual person that, oh, I'm all zen, and they're home screaming their heads out. Like she is honest and real and amazing. And she has honestly taught me to like, just suck it up. Okay. You got your boobs cut off. Now what are we doing? What are we doing tomorrow? And it's really helped a lot. It sounds crazy, but.
No, I think that's great. I'll have to come try that one time.
You totally have to come.
Yeah, I will. All right. So what time is it? Okay. Because I'll talk your ear off all day. So tell everybody where they can find you and follow you and buy the book.
So you can go on to Instagram or Facebook. I'm Oriana Calise. For my business, you can go on to Instagram and Facebook as Caliber Construction NYNJ. I hope you guys can follow me and get to see my children and my saint of a husband on there.
And your chickens.
And my chickens. I love my chickens.
Yes, I'm a little jealous of your chickens.
You should come get eggs.
Eggs were like $10. I was like, oh. And then you put all these beautiful, all different colors.
I'll bring you some on Friday.
Oh, that could be like, you'd have to really protect them.
I'll protect them. I'll wrap them in a bubble wrap.
All right. So thank you so much. I am looking forward to seeing you next Friday. Everybody. So wait, I'm like, can I show you this? Hold on one second. I'm like, there we go. And you can see Caliber Construction right there in the middle in the pyramid. So thank you for being a t-shirt sponsor. Thank you for being a model. And everybody come out. It's next Friday. The doors open at 6 o'clock at Flagship Brewery in Staten Island. The Candy Brothers band is playing, my husband's band. 9 breast cancer survivors are going to be transformed to Pinky, pinup, sexy, Pinky, whatever we're going to call the night. It's like Rosie the Riveter meets Sex Pot. Like a little bit of Wonder Woman, a little bit of, a pinup girl from the 50s. Oriana has a kick-ass costume.
Thanks.
Yeah. So some people are dressing up, some people are not. Feel free to dress up. I think it's gonna be fun. We have, so did I say? I didn't finish. So we have the 9 women being transformed on the side in front of our eyes. You guys will not have a mirror.
Oh.
Until the end. So it's putting like a lot of trust in your stylist. Okay. And then having a reveal in front of everybody. So it's going to be lots of clapping. I just want everybody to feel really sexy and beautiful after what cancer has done to them.
I think it's amazing what you're doing.
And I think that with the help of the amazing stylists like Jen Capella, like it's going to be a wonderful, beautiful night. 50/50s. We have baskets. We have lots of restaurants donating. Jay's by the Bay and Something Greek are offering trays of food. People who have done desserts. Like it's really like I can't even explain like how many people have been reaching out to me. Like I can't keep track of what's going on.
So
like there's so much. So and it comes down to people are affected by cancer. And people have lost people. And so when they hear
I'll tell you that much.
So when they have the opportunity to give back the saying yes, yes, yes. Okay. And one other thing, everybody, I guess I can share it. I don't know, because I think we should pray for her. So we were collecting the $5 envelopes for Holly. And Wednesday I was trying to coordinate dropping them off through my publisher. I have like a stack of cards with money in it here. And, she couldn't get through to her. And she finally got in touch with her boyfriend and she's had a stroke. So if we can all just say a prayer for Holly. She was having a really tough time and we were trying to, cheer her up. So just say a little prayer for her and her family and that she'll be okay. So, life is short and we need to live it and have fun. And so come out and celebrate with us on 10/13, Friday the 13th.
Nice. Well, thank you for having me, Chrissy. I really appreciate it.
All right.
Everybody should have a Chrissy Candy in their corner. I promise you that. So she'll get you through some rough times.
Oh, that's sweet. You just need a girl, you just need somebody in your life. You need to talk, right? Talk. We all got to talk. So have a great day, everybody. Monday is Magnificently Made Mondays with Denise Caesar. So tune in 7-Eleven on Monday night. Have a great weekend, everybody.